So the people of Beirut still know how to enjoy themselves. This is part of the Beirut Marathon. Now, there's quite a few different events in the Beirut Marathon. The marathon itself started first thing this morning at 6:30, but then there's been a range of races since then. The half marathon, the 10K. I have no idea what's going on here. It's now 10 to 11. So it seems to be a lot of charities here. So it seems to be a lot of walks, sponsored walks. People are just, hello, 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 hello. So people are just enjoying themselves, hello. And people are just enjoying themselves and out walking for good causes. There's banners and bands and as you can see down there. So no one's really running at this stage. The running's been done since this morning. I did the Damascus Marathon 2 days ago. So 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. So I'm just chilling out today, but loving the atmosphere. It's just after going through my, right past my my balcony of my hotel, and really vibrant, really good crack, really, yeah, it's just a lovely atmosphere here. So yeah, despite everything else, people of Beirut and Lebanon still know how to enjoy themselves, so fair play to them. Right, I'm off for a dander, and soaking in the atmosphere of a beautiful Sunday morning here in Beirut. Fantastic. Chat to you all later. Bye-bye. There must be thousands of people doing this. This is mad. Wow. Loving this. So this is Lebanon right now. So there's a war going on right below us. The Israelis smashing crap out of the Gaza again. So this is the 12th of November 2023. We have huge issues here in Lebanon, Southern Lebanon, with the skirmishes or increasing tensions between Hezbollah and the Israeli forces. Nobody really knows what's going to happen, how far it will elevate. There's a lot of threats from Hezbollah about elevating the threat in defense of Gaza, their brothers, their Palestinian brothers. So there's a lot of tension in the south of the country, but the people here in Beirut still latching onto life, still want to enjoy life and be normal and be happy, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely amazing to see. Absolutely loving it here. Nobody here wants a war. Absolutely nobody here wants a war. Just, that sounds like a cliche, some virtue signaling bollocks that is such a peace-loving people. But it's true. They're normal people, same as everyone else in the world. Who the hell wants a war? Unless you're a psycho like fucking Netanyahu or, and I'm going to say it, Biden. What the hell are you doing? Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. This is all fun and madness, and I don't even know if you can hear me. This is crazy. Beirut, Lebanon, you rock.
Good job.
One other thing, I may have said this already about Beirut, is that there are no traffic lights here. I'd love to tell you, oh, but somehow it works. But it doesn't. It's a shambles and a feckin' mess. So how do they cross? Well, there's a whole heap of tunnels. So I guess to go left or right, they just go under a tunnel and that somehow takes them left. Or they just drive into the middle of the road and beep the horn until someone lets them through. Welcome to Beirut. Feckin' mad. Now, I have absolutely no idea why your man has a bottle of water on his bonnet. Yep. He's driving around with a bottle of water on his bonnet. There you go. Welcome to Beirut. On the 4th of August 2020, over 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, which was being stored here at a warehouse in Beirut Port, exploded, causing the greatest man-made, non-nuclear explosion in history. Basically, the entire city was devastated. The explosion could be felt from every neighboring country, from Jordan to Israel to Iraq, as far afield as Turkey and Cyprus. It was even recorded by the American earthquake center. I'll bring it up there. It felt like, I think it was a 3.3 magnitude earthquake. It's just the equivalent of, I think, 1,500 kilotons of TNT. Over 220 people were killed, thousands of people were injured, and countless millions of dollars of damage was done. This used to actually be the road. So as you can see from here, this actually used to be the road to the port. The road is now closed because the country still can't afford to pick itself back up from its knees. At the time, the country was dealing with crippling inflation, an economy on its knees, and still in the middle of a pandemic, COVID. So just when the country was suffering enough as it was, this effectively destroyed the city and the country. And it's still dealing with the after effects 3 years later. It's also kind of unfortunate. Maybe says something about the state of the economy here in Lebanon that this is the memorial to the explosion. But the explosion was only 3 years ago. I don't know when this was erected, but it looks like it's been here for 30 years, not 3. So along with the hundreds who died and the thousands that were injured, over 300,000 people were left homeless after the explosion. But why, you may ask, was nearly 3,000 tons of an explosive substance left in a warehouse here in Beirut? It had been confiscated off a ship, the MV Rosas, which had been effectively stranded in the port for nearly 6 years. The rumours abound, or the stories abound, of what it was doing there or why it was left abandoned for so long. Fundamentally, it comes down to, from what we gather, that they didn't have enough money to pay for the fees to get through the Suez Canal. The ownership of the ship is kind of debated between a Russian oligarch and a Greek magnate, a Greek shipping magnate. Whoever owned it, at the end of the day, it made no difference. It ended up capsizing in the explosion, along with countless other container ships. Literally massive, multi-thousand-ton ships capsized in the port, again adding to the billions of dollars of damage that was caused here. So as you can see, the port is still closed. Effectively, it is all still shut down, but just had a colossal, massive impact on the Lebanese economy. Not just the economy of Beirut, but the entire country. All these grain stores were demolished. They lost tens of thousands of tons of grain, bringing them down to 1 month's supply of grain. So the country was effectively looking towards starvation. A lot of these buildings, as you can see, it has been 3 years. So there are a few that have been rebuilt, but others like this are still just lying shells of buildings. The Lebanese government then declared a 2-week state of emergency, but it didn't do anything to quell the protests. In fact, the protests just increased, which added to the protests which have been going on for a couple of years in regards to the ridiculous economic situation in the country. The protests just grew against the government for its failure to prevent the disaster, leading to, just a few weeks later, the Prime Minister Hassan Diab and the entire Lebanese cabinet to resign. Now, you've already heard me mention the massive gap between the wealth gap between those who have and those who haven't. It's quite massive. I've seen over the course of 2 days 4 Lamborghinis. I don't think I've seen 4 Lamborghinis in 20 years of being in Ireland. And then on the other side of the road, as I said before, you have beggars and squalor and just filth and rubbish on the ground. We're in a kind of a cool, hip area here. There is a very vibrant nightlife here. It's very westernized in that respect. I'm going to be quiet here now for a second as we let this young man go past. So there are plenty of coffee shops, karaoke bars, and everything in between for your entertainment. The thing that we that I touched upon when I was in Syria is the regards to alcohol, the attitude towards alcohol. With last night, myself and 2 other lads who did the Damascus Marathon all got tattooed. So there you go, Saha, which is Arabic for cheers. But some Muslims will say, no, there is no word for cheers because we don't drink alcohol. Whoa. Speak for yourselves, because we've drank alcohol with many Muslims, both in Syria and here in Lebanon. In fact, our tattooist, Mohammed, last night got us beers and enjoyed a beer himself. He said, I'm drinking beer, no problem, you want beer? So we all drank beers while we got tattooed. And he was Muslim, though his wife was Christian. So it is very, very open and integrated here in Beirut, which is what it should be. And a lot of other cities and countries should take note. As I pass, not just one Porsche, but a second Porsche. And a Maserati, just for good measure. So, yeah. Beirut, it is a city of contrasts. Not all of them good. Wow. So once again, trying to illustrate some of the disparities, some of the clear gulfs between the wealth and the poverty. Some of these buildings are absolutely incredible. Just the design is beautiful. I have no idea what era they date back to, but they look absolutely amazing, and yet they're pretty much derelict, semi-derelict. And I'm guessing, it's a bit of a leap of faith here, I'm guessing that they're pretty much refugees. Oh, actually, hold on a second. I'm just after seeing this. So, among all this, we have this. This is pretty astounding. So, I'm assuming, yes, that a lot of the inhabitants, the residents, are refugees, and no one really gives a monkey's where they live. They're just piling them in everywhere, and these buildings are just incredible. So I gather that's a cathedral. Seems a little bit out of place, same as those glass-fronted buildings there. Beautiful modern glass-fronted buildings. Unbelievable poverty and dereliction and BMWs. It is one thing I'm not too sure if I mentioned it or not, but Lebanon was inundated, took in a huge amount of Syrian refugees during the Syrian war. The uprising, how would they say, the crisis, as they said in Syria. So it was already hard enough for them to look after their own people, look after their own population, but they took in, I think, over 1 million. I'll look that up, I'll correct it and put it under here. But they took in over 1 million. Plus they also have millions of Palestinian refugees dating from 1967, even maybe as far as back as 1948, the Nakba. Again, I'm going to have to look that up. I'm just dropping this from my head. So, Lebanon is taking a fair rap on a lot of things which it had no control over. This building is incredible. It's just so hard to believe how this would have looked, or how this street would have been 30, 40 years ago, before the war in the mid-1970s, 75. So do you know what? It's probably been close to 50 years, 40, 50 years since this was in its former glory.